Hello, welcome everyone to the FPL video. My name is Mo and today I'll be going through the best captain options for game week 4, which is only a few days away. So today I'll be going through a selection of players that I've handpicked that I think will be the best options for captaincy for this game week. So before we get into that, I'll go through some differential options as well. But before we get into that, all I want you to do is hit that like button if you like this content and hit that subscribe button. We are fast moving towards that 1k subscribers mark. Help me get there, guys, as soon as possible. So let's not waste any further time and let's crack on with the options that we do have. So on screen, you guys have got my wildcard team. So I recently released my wildcard activation and my team release for game week 4. I'm pretty content with it. Yes, there's Dominic Calvert-Lewin at the moment, who's got a yellow flag next to him, 75% likely to play. We'll kind of find out a bit more about him over the next couple of days, but I'm pretty certain that he will play the game week this week against Burnley. So the first pick of captain for me is going to be Mikel Antonio. So at the moment, he's the king of the FPL game with the most points. He's got 40 points with 8 returns, so 4 assists and 4 goals. He's owned by 50% of managers at the moment in the game. So this is at the time of recording the video. So obviously that will fluctuate and change during this game week. So guys, these are just the kind of selections, percentages that I'm getting from the FPL site whilst I'm recording this video. So quite highly owned. He's got a lot of transfers in. So a lot of people have brought him in via their wildcard, or even if they're not wildcarding, they have decided to kind of alternate their strikers to bring in Antonio. Why is he a captaincy favourite choice? He did really well last week. Whoever was captaining him, he's got 11 points, which made him get 22 with a double up. And he's got Southampton away now. Southampton defensively haven't looked that great this season. They have conceded goals. Yes, they had a good performance against Manchester United, but you know, West Ham have been in form. He's rested quite well. He's been in great form, and I can't see a reason why he should have a dip in form. So he's going to be quite a popular option with a high ownership. People may go a bit differential, so that's why I decided to go for him. I can fully understand why you'd captain him because he's in such great form. But again, if you look at his fixtures after that, you know, they've got Manchester United at home, Leeds away, Brentford at home, even Everton away. You know, barring the Manchester United game, I can see him still being quite a popular option as captain if he continues his form in this game week. So for me personally, you know, he's a good shout. Some people may continue with Mikel Antonio because he served them well, and if he does, because of the high ownership, you know, if people don't captain him, it'd be a really good likelihood for you to pull away and get a good score at the end of the game week. Now moving on to the return of the king to Manchester, to Old Trafford, is Cristiano Ronaldo. So he's kind of come back early from Portugal. He didn't play in their second qualifier, wants to get all the quarantine and, you know, get back to his match fitness for Manchester United. I think he's ready to start. We'll obviously find out more from Ollie as the game week progresses, but the process is there. He wants to train, he wants to be there, he wants to start the game, he wants to get that standing ovation. He won't be wanted to come on as a sub. You know, what we got in store, they got Newcastle at home. Defensively, they've been quite weak for me, so he's got a really good chance to really exploit their defensive worries that they do have at the moment. He's really good in terms of finishing, got 29 goals last season, 31 the season before. I don't think assists are going to be that high because he's pretty much like Salah, really. Quite, you know, in terms of when he takes shots, he likes to take them on. I wouldn't call him selfish, that's really strong words, but, you know, generally players like himself, Messi and Salah will have high shot percentages in terms of taking shots themselves because they're so good and they have a good overall finishing ability. Aerially, he's quite amazing as well. People forget how good he is with a header. He's got really strong neck muscles and he can hang in that air for a very, very long time. So if he does get the service from, you know, the midfielders, you know, for example, Bruno, Pogba, you know, we can include Greenwood in there as well if he does play on the right. You've got Sancho in there as well. He's got an abundance of talent on the pitch who can actually find him and give him a ball, which he can definitely take advantage of. And in the games after that, you know, they don't seem that difficult in my opinion. West Ham away will be a good game. Aston Villa at home, Everton at home and Leicester away. You know, it doesn't matter how difficult the game is. Ronaldo's a big game player. He's generally one of the best footballers to ever play the game. And I don't think, you know, there's anything to do with his fitness or age that's going to kind of, you know, hold him back from performing in the Premier League. He took a shirt off a couple of weeks ago in the Portugal game and his physique looked absolutely immense. So he's in shape. You know, he's an icon for the game. He sets the standards high, and I think he will improve Manchester United overall. So for me, at the moment, I've got the captain's armband on him. Let's just say during, you know, the end of the week and the press conferences come in, and there's a bit of a chance that he may come on as a sub only. There is a tendency that I may go towards Salah, but at the moment, I've got the armband on Ronaldo, and I'm pretty much sure I will captain him if he gets the full 90 minutes. Moving on to our next captain option, it is Mo Salah. So Mo Salah, Liverpool, obviously one of their main attacking threats. Firmino's injured at the moment. Jota will be in alongside Mane. Not a bad start to the season so far. 2 goals and 2 assists with 30 points. Owned by 53% of managers at the moment at the time of recording. They've got Leeds away, so defensively Leeds haven't had a great start to the season. They conceded 5 against Manchester United in the first game at Old Trafford. And they've conceded against Burnley as well in the last game week, who don't score many goals either. So it shows that, they have vulnerability and frailties in their defence. And I think Salah can, definitely take them or avail them. He takes penalties and likes to, take most of the shots and kind of be part of the creation in terms of attacks for Liverpool. And even games after that, they've got Crystal Palace at home, Brentford away. Manchester City will be a tough game in Game Week 7, and Watford away after that. He's pretty much going to be a firm captaincy option with the high ownership as well. I can see a lot of people putting the armband on him for this game week. Obviously, you'll get the odd manager who like to pick a differential, but I think in terms of premiums this week, Salah for me has the best game week to at the midfield certainly to get the captaincy armband. Now, we have to focus on Harry Kane. He's back. He's staying at Tottenham. He's not going to be going to Manchester City, at least in this transfer window, which has ended. Can't say much about January or next season. I kind of think City have made their intentions of signing him quite clear. They don't think he's worth the 150 million that was requested, but he's back in the FPL. We can't deny how great this guy is. He was the highest goal scorer, assist maker last season, and we can't deny that at all. In regards to, so far this season, what he's done, he hasn't really hit the ground running at the moment. Only 1 point, no returns in terms of goals or assists. He's owned by 8% of managers at the moment. Now, they've got a game against Crystal Palace away. Can this be a good differential option for us to captain? He's not in my squad at the moment, but let's just say he was. I definitely would be considering, because we can't forget, he plays amazingly up front. He can finish. He takes penalties. He's back on the spot kicks. And he's always, there or thereabouts to create chances for the team as well. A real team player, will play minutes. He's under Nuno's management. They got a resurgence of new players, including old revivals as well, such as Dele Alli. They've got Lucas Moura, Bergwijn. This talent of players around him with Son as well. They do have that amazing connection. And last season, Son and Kane combination was the best combination by a country mile. And it can be done again. So we shouldn't really forget and discard him. Yes, he's got some difficult games after Chelsea, Arsenal, and then Aston Villa and Newcastle respectively. So I think, we can get caught up in emotions. We can look at recent history in terms of 1 or 2 weeks very quickly. But we can't discard what he's done in previous seasons. He has hit the 200-point mark. And he has hit over 20 goals quite regularly. So we need to respect him in that aspect. And, Crystal Palace away can be a decent game for him. But with only 8% ownership, if he does come off and he gets a good haul, that can help boost your ranking massively, considering if you do get, or you're able to fit in other premiums such as Salah, Bruno, Ronaldo or Lukaku, it will boost your overall ranking in itself as well. So do not discard Tottenham, and especially Harry Kane. He's the captain, and he's going to make sure he's captain of England, he's not captain of Tottenham, but he's going to make sure definitely that he'll add value to your squad. And if you do put the armband on him, I personally think it'll be a really, really good move. Now, last but not least, in terms of my captaincy picks, I'm going to be looking at Romelu Lukaku. So there's a triangle, a warning kind of sign for injury on FPL website, which I've just seen before making this video. 75% likely to play. I think he's got a thigh strain or a thigh muscle, which is an injury. I think they're going to assess it over the week. I think he should be fit for the weekend against Aston Villa, which they play at Stamford Bridge. What Lukaku brings from Chelsea is pretty much what they needed. He's the final piece of that jigsaw. Immense talent in defence. The goalkeeper's done really well since coming in, which is Mendy. The midfield is full of talent, probably one of the best midfield, along with Manchester City in terms of squad depth and talent. And I think, they just needed an out-and-out striker, which Lukaku is, and that's why they spent £100 million on him, and he's worth 11.5 million, which makes him one of the most expensive strikers in the game, just behind Cristiano Ronaldo. So we saw him against Liverpool. He did his job at the end of the day. He was looking threatening before that Reece James got sent off, but then he held the ball up, did the best he could. They came away with a good result. But let's look at the Arsenal game. Yes, Arsenal defensively have looked quite weak, and quite fragile, but Lukaku exposed that. and they're playing Aston Villa at home. And, I think Tyrone Mings might not be available, and they haven't had the best of starts. And Martinez won't be in goal either. So again, it makes him a very, very good option as a captain that you can choose. The only thing I don't like about choosing strikers as captain, even though I'm looking at Lukaku, is the only negative side I see of it is that midfielders can get clean sheet points. That's an extra point. So that's the one thing that kind of defers me from captaincy on strikers, but it's not always a bad thing. It's just something to be aware of, that you can bank or cash in on, the extra clean sheet point or points if you get 2 points as a captain. If it's one, that you can look into. But generally, he's played phenomenally well. Unless he's injured, which I don't think he will be, he might be a really good option for this game week. The games after, he's got Tottenham away, which is a derby for them, and then Manchester City at home. But then game week 7 is where they start their kind of like good run of fixtures all the way up to game week 11 or 12. They've got Southampton at home, Brentford away, which I think, again, are good games for him to really get stuck in and get some real good points. It's not to say he can't get points against Tottenham and Man City, but again, these are what big players do. They turn up for all games, which includes the tough fixtures in FPL overall. So these were like the overall kind of like main contenders for captaincy, or my captaincy picks for game week 4. And I'm sure these players are kind of like the main players around your wildcard options that you're looking at to put the captaincy armband on. And even if you haven't played the wildcard at the moment, captaincy pick is a huge decision to make for game week 4. And I think, overall, if we get the right player on the captaincy armband and they perform, it will help your overall ranking significantly, because a lot of players, FPL managers wise, at the moment are quite close together. So 1 point or even 10 points can make a huge difference in your overall ranking in your own mini leagues and the overall game rank as well. Now let's talk about some differential options that I've looked at as well, who can also be some really good picks and options as well. So we've got Jota. He's got the Leeds fixture, already 2 goals so far this season and 17 points. I think Liverpool looked better when he came on to replace Firmino in the game against Chelsea. However, he didn't score a goal that day. But for me, if Firmino, doesn't play for the next couple of game weeks, he's got some really good fixtures runs to go through, which I'll go through in terms of fixtures for you as well. So we can have a look at it here. Leeds away, Crystal Palace at home, Brentford away, Manchester City in game week 7, and Watford at home. So they've got 2 of the 3 promoted squads or teams to play in the next couple of game weeks. So it shows him, he can get some really good points haul. And, he does do well. I mean, if we put Greenwood and Jota in comparison to Salah and Fernandes, despite them having two having the best of the first game weeks, but the next 2 game weeks weren't as fruitful. We can generally say that they weren't bad options for nearly 4 or 5 million less. So should we overlook them? Should we maybe choose them? Should we be looking into them? This is a player that I've got in my squad at the moment, but I'm not too tempted to put the armband on him. But I can understand the people who do, because it's a very good argument, because they have played well and there's no reason why they can't flourish. And I've got Mane in there as well. I know he hasn't started well, but what we need to remember, guys, he's got ownership around 2-3% in the game. He's a phenomenal player. He hasn't hit the ground running since the start of last season. But I think, if he can catch any sort of form back into his old groove, he really can take advantage of those fixtures that we've just gone through. And he's devastating. When he does go big, he does get big double-digit scores. And I won't be surprised that people who do have him in their squads, or even decide to captain him, which there will be a handful, can actually really gain massively in terms of their rank and overall points for this week. And obviously looking at Son now as well, we discussed the Tottenham fixtures, playing Crystal Palace away this weekend. Why not captain him? So far, we can look at some of his stats generally. He's got a goal in the first game that he played. And, in terms of Son generally, with Kane, he does play really well. Didn't hit the penalty in the game where Harry Kane wasn't playing and Dele Alli took it instead. But again, just because he's not on penalties, he's had some really good points last season, over 200 points for the first time, and you just can't ignore this sensation. He's an absolutely phenomenal player. I just don't know how I haven't been able to fit him into my squad. If only he was around 9.5. 10.1 is just a step too far for me to manage. I will be weakening my squad far too much for my liking if I was to draft him in. But I can understand if he's in your squad and you want to captain him against Crystal Palace, will not be a bad option whatsoever. Then we've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well, already 3 goals this season. We can't discard him. Yes, he's got an injury doubt on him, but I think he'll be fit to play. He's playing at home against Burnley, and so far 3 goals, 23 points. He's owned by 15.1% of managers, so why not? If you want to put the armband on him, he's on penalties as well, and he's one of the most informed strikers in the league at the moment. Raheem Sterling, I've discussed him in other videos as well, around 2% of ownership at the moment. He's not been getting the minutes, to be fair, guys. So, you can't really blame him as as not performing generally, but he did, come on and get a return in the last game against Arsenal. So it shows that, if he's given the minutes, he played well for England as well. Why not? They're playing Leicester this week, but after all, we can look at some of his fixtures that we've got here in terms of Manchester City. Southampton at home might be a good game for him. Then they've got 2 difficult games against Chelsea and Liverpool, and then Burnley at home. So it could be, against Leicester, he might get a chance or a run-in, considering he's played well for England. You can never tell with Pep, but again, it's a huge risk, and I personally wouldn't put the armband of captaincy on him for this game week. But worth considering, of course. He's an out-and-out, FPL player which can bring big returns, and if you want to be brave and go for that, and if that's your inkling, go for Raheem Sterling. And last but not least is Mr. Bruno Fernandes. Again, he's being ditched by FPL managers so quickly, it's unbelievable. We can't forget how great he's been. He's owned around about just under the 50% mark at the moment. He's probably not going to be on penalties now. But does that improve his assists overall? Will he impact his overall points tally? I'm not too sure. They're playing Newcastle, so again, they do leak goals. Will he still be taking any other set pieces like corners or free kicks? We'll just have to wait and see with Ronaldo there as well. But are we overlooking him far too quickly? He was the highest point scorer last season by a country mile. And he got loads of goals and assists. I think 18 goals and 14 assists overall with 244 points. So we can't just discard him immediately. So he's in my thoughts. Am I going to captain him this week? He's not even in my squad. So no, and if he was in my squad, I still wouldn't have captained him personally. I would have definitely gone for either Salah or Ronaldo. So these are kind of like alternative options. There might be several other players that you're looking at, like Jamie Vardy, but they're playing Manchester City. And, there might be someone like Richarlison or, even a Torres, Ferran Torres or a Mason Greenwood. You could be looking at these kind of players. But these are kind of the short lists that I've brought out. And these are the fixtures that are listed here. Again, we've gone through these in previous videos. They've gone ranking in terms of easier fixtures, so Arsenal at the top and Manchester United by fixture difficulty rating calculator on the FPL website. So for me, if you've got Liverpool assets and maybe even Spurs, they may be beneficial over the next couple of game weeks. But I wouldn't say choose Aubameyang or any Arsenal player, even though they're playing Norwich at home. They've had a real, I'd say disastrous start to the campaign, so I'm not personally backing any of their assets. I've just said that Aubameyang might go bang another hat-trick like he did against West Brom. We just can't call it. But for now, for me, Liverpool and Manchester United, for me, Ronaldo and Salah seem the best options. Otherwise, Jota, you've also got Bruno Fernandes in there, Mason Greenwood, these kind of players that you may look at as well. Mane or Pogba. Again, you can look at these players in your own accordance. But I've gone through the main options that I believe are the best options for captaincy. So once again, I'll show you my squad, which is going to be my wildcard squad. It's activated, and this is what it looks like for now. Ronaldo will be my captain. If not, it's going to be Salah if he's not going to be ready to play the full 90 minutes in accordance with Ollie's statements. If he's ready to fit and play, and that will be my captaincy choice, I think he can get some returns and he'll go big. Not to say Salah won't or any of the other players won't, but I just have a good inkling that he'll do well. So that's my captaincy picks for Game Week 4 for FPL. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are these players that you're looking at? Is there any players that I've not discussed that you're looking at the moment? Let me know your thoughts. Before you go, join the league. The league code is just below my camera. Let's join the FPL INKLING League. Have a lovely and amazing season between all of us. In addition, if you've got any comments or questions, just let me know. Type it in the comments box or contact me on my social media, on Instagram, Twitter or YouTube here itself. But by then, if you haven't liked this video already, give it a like, hit that subscribe button, help me get to that 1K mark. And in addition, till then, stay tuned for some more content which I'll be bringing you, and I want you to stay safe and stay tuned.